All right, here's the shop. We got some people filing in. I've got the point of view camera on, and we're going to take a look at Bandsaw tuning app, Bandsaw tensioning app. That, spoiler alert, well, we'll see. Last night it was working well, and I told the app designer, yes, this is the version we can go forward with. So I'm going to show you how that all looks. This is the little icon. It's not very good, but it's good enough. How is everyone? This is a setup that I had to make to develop all the calibrations for the Bandsaw tuning app. Tensioning app. I keep saying tuning. Tensioning is better. So the goal is to have a phone app that can listen to the frequency of vibration of the blade and say it's too loose, tension it more, it's perfect, or it's too tight. You should loosen it a bit. So what I had to do is cut all these lengths of bandsaw blade. This is a scale and a large screw, large fine threaded screw, that I could slowly put more and more tension on sections, cut sections of blade. And then I'd have my phone here with just a standard tuner, and I could take a frequency reading of vibration with a very precisely known amount of force on the blade. So once I did that for a range of tensions that I could convert to PSIs, I had conversion curves for frequency to the pounds per square inch on the blade. And manufacturers give you recommendations in pounds per square inch. That way, if I go backwards the other way and I get a frequency reading from the phone, put it through that conversion that I built on the machine over there, then the app could tell me whether or not the tension was right. And that is hopefully what you're about to see. Okay, so you can put in different parameters. You got manufacturer, got the distance from center to center on your two bandsaw wheels. Is it carbide tipped or not? I tried some carbide tipped and built a little bit of a, it doesn't change much, but it changes it just a little bit. So you can say whether or not you have carbide tipped blades. There's a little damping effect of those carbide tips for the frequency. Material you're cutting, because your recommended tension is higher for metal. Cut type, straight or tight curves. So this is essentially, if you're just resawing, you can go a little bit higher on tension. That's what that's about. And then your blade width. Up to 1 inch for now. I'll increase that in the future. I can also see your comments if you have something to say or question to ask. Okay, so we got all that done. Then we have our scale, too tight to too loose. And then you have this little button that says start. So this is the way this works. When I press start, there's going to be a little metronome bouncing back and forth, and I'm going to pluck the blade when it's in the center. So I kind of missed one, but that's okay. I should still, oh, of course this doesn't work. So we got measurement failure. So it didn't get a good reading that time. This is the first time it failed, of course, when I'm doing a live. So I'm just gonna look at my log. Oh, I just cleared it, so I can't. All right, let's try it again. I'll do a better job. Okay. Okay, so it says it's too tight. I'm going to go into the back end. And look at this. Okay, so 89, 89, 89. So it read mostly in the high 80s for the frequency of vibration. And I know that's correct because if I go over here to the tuner, the tuner's picking up 89. This tuner algorithm is actually having a little bit of trouble with it. I know for sure this blade is vibrating at 89. So I'm seeing mostly it's doing a good job, but this is actually a little bit of a hard frequency to find. These bandsaw blades have all kinds of harmonics. It's echoey. It's a really tricky thing to do, and that's what's actually delayed this app, but it's doing a good job now and telling me that I'm too tight. Okay. So I'm going to loosen things up. I know this is not the standard way to loosen up bandsaw, but I've got things jimmied a little bit so I can make quicker adjustments, just because, as you can imagine, I've been moving this thing all over the place. I'm going to go a little bit more. So that's lower. Let's check with the tuner. See where we're at. Yo. Okay, we're about 85. I'm gonna go a little bit lower. So I know that perfectly tuned is about 66 hertz for this setup. $77. Okay, so we'll see. That's still too tight, but it's closer. Testing AHS to take place inside the housing. Testing AHS. So the algorithm to ignore all the harmonics and background noise and find the peaks as they're damping and changing at different rates, that was the challenging part. Much trickier than I thought it was going to be, but I think we're there. Let's take a look. Okay, still too tight, which is true. And yes, it's measuring in the 77s, so it's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm going to try to we'll get it a little bit looser as we approach correctly tensioned, so you can see how you can dial this in. Okay, 66, so this should be perfect, because I happen to know that's the right frequency. You wouldn't know that if you were using this app, but that's okay, you wouldn't need to. All right. See if we got it. Look at that. Almost perfect. So this is telling you that blade is just a tiny bit too tensioned, but you're in the green range, or very near it. You know, you're in good shape. So what do you think? I think this is ready for prime time. You guys are quiet. Is anybody out there? Any life on the live stream? Want to see what I'm wearing on my head? You probably know. Looks handy, love it, thank you. This is what's happening. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, so I won't be doing it too much longer, but yes, awesome, excellent. Thank you. I'm excited about it. It was honestly, it was looking like, boy, do I need to hire some kind of sound engineer or pay for some crazy algorithm to do the analysis to try to get to the fundamental frequency. That was really tricky. What does it do? In a nutshell, it measures the frequency of a bandsaw blade's vibration and tells you if it is tensioned properly, taking into account different sizes and types of blades and cut types and materials and blah, blah, blah. That is the goal, and I think I'm there. So, if there are any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, I think this is all the live streaming I'm going to do. So, yeah, I'll putter around here for just a second and make a lap. Okay, what is the clamp on the side of the saw? Clamp on the side of the saw. I don't know. What clamp? Oh, this? The drill. So this is a drill press. Drill press vise. Will there be an Android version? Yes. I don't want to deal with that hate. There will be an iPhone and Android version. How can I get it? It's awesome. It is currently being uploaded to both iOS and Android Play stores. I'm going to get a video together, and then I'm going to launch it, and then it'll be for sale. Kind of like tuning piano that can also cut through, kind of like a tuning piano that can cut through a piano. Right. Cool advice, thanks. I did a YouTube video on this. That was my getting over initial COVID fear video when nobody knew what the hell was going on. What will it cost? The app is going to cost about $9.50. And then for the life of the app, no matter how many times I improve it, you'll have access to all the upgrades forever and ever with the one price. I'm never going to go to like a renewal or subscription model. It's a one-time kind of purchase. So that is the plan. So yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. Honestly, I think this app is as good as, or maybe better than like $300 tuners. Say the video app will be a winner. Oh, thanks. Will it adjust for carbide and bimetal blades? So bimetal, I didn't find much difference in the frequency calibration to PSI. So there isn't a correction for bimetal because I didn't really need one. The same curves work. But there is one for carbide because I did test carbide blades, which was very expensive. Here's a chopped up section of a carbide blade. Oops. And here's another chopped section of a larger carbide blade. And I did find that there's a tiny little damping or frequency reducing effect of the carbides. You know, just more metal vibrating than you'd expect from another one. And that changes the frequency calibration just a tiny bit. So the way that works, when you open up the app and you put in your edit, you hit edit parameters, you can select carbide tipped, no, or yes, and then when you go back or hit done, now the algorithm takes that into account and gives you a slightly altered calibration curve. I'm missing a bunch of questions now. You guys are talking more. Do an add-on that measures RPM using audio. Well, yeah, that would be very tricky. I'm learning how hard audio analysis is. That'd be cool though. RPM using audio. That would be really hard. That would be much harder than what I'm doing. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying that'd be hard. Currently, just guess deflection with a fingertip. No broken blades yet. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, you can guess and get pretty close and get decent performance. I need to be careful not to say this app is the only way to get good performance out of a bandsaw. It's not. I've been bandsawing, you know, and not feeling like I'm getting bad performance for the last 8 years, and I haven't had this app or any other tensioning mechanism. But you know, for $9.50 to know exactly where you are and dial it into the perfect manufacturer recommended, I thought it was worth it. So that's what we're dealing with. Okay, I bought my saw used and do not know the brand of blade. Is there a generic setting? There is a generic setting because I haven't tested all bandsaw blades or all manufacturers. So the way this works If you buy from Timberwolf or Sawblade.com, then you get a calibration curve built precisely for those, but they're very close. They're not that different. So if you just click Other, then you're getting sort of an average of the two, which is almost as good. It's really not that much of an advantage. You know, you're talking a couple percent different, and bandsaw blades are much more forgiving than that. So honestly, it's not that big a deal. If you just click Other, that's from a manufacturer other than these two, or if you just don't know, and that'll believe me, that'll be close enough. So yeah, that's that's how that's handled. Can buy a farm in South Africa for $9.50. Well, you have your choice between an app or a farm. Just the way it is. Manufacturer name printed on it. Never even look. I doubt it. I've never seen a manufacturer name printed on a bandsaw blade. A countdown should be easier for people to follow up with instead of the ball moving. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. A countdown? The thing about a countdown, you can get the rhythm of it. Excuse me. But with the ball moving, you can see it sort of approach. Pluck, pluck, pluck the blade, pluck the blade. So you can kind of, I don't know, I kind of like the metronome feel of it. What do you guys think? Countdown or metronome? I mean, either one could work. But the reason I did that, I wanted to eliminate nuisance and incorrect readings. So if you do the metronome and take a bunch of readings and a couple are bad, then the app can just ignore the ones that are bad and base it all, because it's never perfect, you know. 2 out of 10 are going to be a junk reading. Rather than throwing up nonsense measurements on the dial, I just wanted to take a bunch of readings, throw out the ones that didn't quite work, and base what's actually displayed on, you know, the good ones that are left. And if they're all over the place, then it gives you an error and just says try again and reduce background noise. You can see it approaching the target area. Don't charge for it. I am going to charge for it. I had to buy all these bandsaw blades. Let's talk about what it took to do this. I had to buy all these bandsaw blades. I had to buy all the steel and the scale for this rig. I had to build this all and take the time to make it. I had to get an addendum to my insurance so that this app was covered. I had to pay a lawyer to write a disclaimer because the insurance required that. I had to go on Upwork and find an app developer who could code it for me and pay them a bunch of money. So this cost a lot of money. Not don't charge. Did I get that wrong? He typed don't change. Okay, got it. I'm getting all worked up about charging people money. All right, well, it's still interesting. So you got don't change, not don't charge, check. It's hard to read this phone when it's so close to my face. But anyway, it did take quite a bit to make this happen. All in, probably about $3,000 it's cost to get to that point, which is not that bad considering all that stuff I just mentioned. But you know, still, I gotta sell 300 of these just to break even at the price I'm trading. Probably a bit more after the Android and Apple Store take their cuts. So maybe I gotta sell 400 to break even. Price is good. You deserve to be compensated. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a fair price. It's the cheapest tensioning device out there. Even the really cheap ones cost like $30, I think, is the cheapest tensioning device out on the market. So anyway, great questions, guys. It's fun hanging out. I will spread the love here in South Africa. Awesome. Thanks, John. Sorry I misinterpreted your comment. All right. Well, I think that's all for today. Thanks for being here. yeah, it's just an app. Makes it really easy. Your phone's always somewhere close by. And I can upgrade it and make it better for people who purchase early, which is a nice thing to do. So, yeah, thanks for joining. You guys have a good day. I'm going to sign off.